Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Retro Doc 79, and in today's episode we're going through Zelda Outlands Part 5 of this walkthrough, and we're going to tackle Dungeon 4, and we're also going to farm 100 rupees because we're going to need them for Dungeon 1, which will be the next video. Now here, these blue skull enemies, they don't do physical damage. They actually give you back your sword because their counterparts are some orange skull enemies that actually take your sword. And if you already knew that, you don't have to come up to this room, but I'm coming up to show you guys where you get that information. Blue will cure the touch of orange, and that's what gives you the hint as to what's going on when you lose your sword later in this dungeon. Avoid taking damage if you can here. And then make your way to the left side of the room and push this pillar in the middle where they have 3 of them. It's not necessary to take all these enemies out. It's actually better if you leave one in here because it won't respawn the other 3. And you can avoid these guys. It's just best to do so. We don't have the shield to block their attacks. Wow, if they would have touched us, we would have lost our sword ability. It's not a big deal, because at this point, it doesn't matter if we lose it. We'd get it back right before we need it. Here you do want to kill all those enemies and get the key, and you'll see where this comes into play in the next room when we get up there. These guys can touch us. They don't harm you. I'm going to go ahead and take these bombs. And we got a good pattern, because you actually want to come to this room on the left with your sword, because we have a mini-boss here. If you can avoid taking damage, it's great, because that actually does a whole heart container of damage. And that was a habit. I really didn't need that fairy. We're going to take the map just to get it. And here you want to switch over to the bow and arrow. And you're going to see why we had to farm in part 4 to this for enough rupees for the bow and arrow. Oh, I didn't need to take those. And this is the item we came for. After this, we have to get out of this dungeon. I'll keep helping you all I can. Zelda's been a big help throughout the quest so far, gave us our sword. And in Dungeon 1, you'll see we'll get an opportunity to purchase a larger bomb bag from her. Also, the room where she was at, do not go down from that room, because you're going to be locked in with a bunch of those centaur enemies and also a bunch of skulls too. And it's going to be dark, and you're going to have to defeat all those things to be able to escape there. And right now with 5 heart containers and without a big shield, we're not in good shape to do that. If you can avoid these guys, it's great, but it's not really necessary. Because, as you recall, the entrance to the dungeon has the blue versions of those. Oh, guess I was wrong about leaving one of them alive. As you see, we had all 4 of those little flying creatures. And we're just going to avoid the mice. And now, before we go farm for those rupees, we actually have to buy another chicken as well. I almost forgot about that. In Dungeon 1, you actually need to give a moblin another piece of chicken. Now, fortunately for us, it's only 20 rupees. So we should be able to get that fairly quickly, because that piece of chicken is sold right around here. And we're not going to worry about those guys. Oh, they gave us a ton of bombs. Not necessary. But you want to blow a hole here. And this is going to be one of those shops where you can buy stuff that you have because of the letter you got from that other person. Alright, now the grind begins. 97 rupees more. And we don't have to have the full 97. Having 85, 90 is good enough to go to the dungeon because we'll get the rest while we're in there. But now we have to make our way back to the desert area. Or at least for me, that's my favorite farming area. And just because we're farming in the desert does not mean that you want to pass up enemies. You want every opportunity possible to make those rupees and get them as quick as possible. As you can see, we're already at 11 from 3. So, not bad at all. Here, be real cautious. Use some bombs if you have to. Actually, let me switch back to the boomerang. You do want to avoid using your bow and arrow because that is going to waste a rupee per arrow you fire, I believe. It did in the original Zelda. I haven't been paying attention, but I don't think it's changed. And we stun those guys, and then we take them all out. Well, most of them. Now, have you guys played through this game? Let me know in the comments. Also, do you want to see me try the second quest once I finish the first quest? And now, if enough people request it, I will do it. But I am going to have to practice. I've never finished the game itself. I actually just log in and I find stuff, and then once I'm pretty confident where everything is, I come back and record the video for you guys. And here you want to be careful. If you're not too careful, those little Goyas will just push you back and send you on your raft back to the upper peninsula. You can come down and do what I did, where you toss the boomerang, kind of stun them, and then stab them with the sword. You could also just lay a bomb out there. That was close. I almost took another hit. And I have to go up and to the right. I do have to make my way over to the desert. And you'll excuse me, it gets a little hectic here with the button mashing. See, I just don't like how you don't get the knockback every time with these enemies when you strike them. You take a lot of unnecessary damage. And it sounded like I got a fairy, but I know it was just picking up the bombs. And here you just want to be real careful. I know these guys only take one hit, but they can take your health away pretty quickly if you're not cautious because they jump around so much. And that little shop there, we can replenish our bombs for free, as you guys recall. And we don't need the bombs. It's only one. We're only one down. And here, I'm just going to risk it and use the bombs. And when I say risk it is, these Goyas here, these blue ones, they seem to just give me bombs when I use bombs on them. But when there's a large group like that, I might as well risk it since we have all these bombs and we're going to be able to get more on the way back. Well, that was anticlimactic to get the time stop right there at the end. Okay, none of them spawned over here. And here I'm taking an unnecessary risk, but it's necessary for our purposes because we do need, as many rupees as possible. But normally if you're not farming the rupees, just avoid it. I could have gone down that ladder and I would have had a fairy spring, but only missing half a heart container, I didn't see a need to do so. And now we're cooking with gas. You see, the knockback on this, just no rhyme or reason on it. And we're 57 rupees away. I actually make some Mario Maker levels. If you guys want to see me play the levels I've made or check out some of the levels, let me know. I could either play my levels or play them and post the codes for them so you guys can actually get in there and try them yourselves. And if you want to see more modern games, drop it in the comments too. I have PlayStation, I have an Xbox, and I have a Switch, so we can definitely play some modern games as well. I've been a gamer my whole life, so... Alright, and the next screen up, if we go up that ladder, as you recall, if you watch my other episodes, you'll recall that's going to be the entrance to Dungeon 2. We're going to use that to reset the enemies. This fire enemy really doesn't reset because it's one screen away, but the rest of them do. So we're just going to go up here and come back out a couple times. It shouldn't take more than maybe 2 resets of the enemies to be close enough that I'd feel comfortable just pushing through to Dungeon 1 and calling it. Now, if you guys play this game and you have a better farming area, let me know. I just know that these enemies come out. They're fairly easy to kill. And of course, you can take them out easily enough to be able to get a bunch of rupees to spawn. Ooh. Okay, no rupees there, but that's fine. Now, it'd be nice if the desert was populated with those little guys. So yeah, we'll go back to Dungeon 2. reset the enemies, and no matter what the number of rupees are, we'll push through to Dungeon 1 so we can call the video. And if we don't have our 100 rupees, we'll just farm those at the end of, actually we'll farm them in part 6 inside the actual Dungeon 1. Because you don't get the opportunity to use that 100 rupees until a little later in the dungeon. Oh man, that was completely accidental. Look at Link with his little shield with a G on it. His little go-go shield. I'd say Link is a G, and he is, but that's his go-go shield. Like go-go gadget copter. Get his little feet moving. We're in pretty good shape. We actually might get the 100 rupees before we get to the first dungeon. Oh man, we're 9 away. Yeah, we're definitely going to have enough by the time we get to that dungeon. And we're just going to keep pushing to the left until we see the water above us. Oh, I took a hit. I thought I could avoid that. Nice, and we replenished the heart container. That's all I cared about right there. Ooh, and I had only one hand on the controller. And there you have it, folks. We got our 100 rupees. We're actually over it. I'm just taking this opportunity to take out these enemies because they're fairly easy and to try to avoid more farming later on. And we're back at Dungeon 1. So as soon as we clear out these guys, get rid of these Goyas right here. And if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, let me know. Alright, that's been Zelda Outlands walkthrough part 5. This has been RetroDoc79. Thank you guys that support the channel. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button if you do like the content. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really lets me know that this is the content you want, and it helps support the channel. Thanks, you guys. Have a good one, and until part 6.